What is up, everybody? Welcome back to some video. Hope y'all having an amazing day as usual. I'm back with another YouTube video. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 worst countries you can live in the world. But before we get into today's video, make sure to click the like button, click the subscribe button, and always comment down below. It really helps out with the videos. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 worst countries in the world. Now, a lot of people think that most people think America is the best country in the world, and there's some people that think that America is the worst country in the world, but actually, America doesn't rank in the top 10 for best countries in the world. It's actually pretty far down the list in like the 20s. And you can kind of understand why. High crime, lots of poverty in certain areas, a terrible healthcare system, inflation, the political divide. I mean, there's a lot of issues in America, but America's still a great country. I mean, I love it here, and it's where I live, and it's beautiful. There's great people, great food, and a lot of great things here in America. But today we're going to be looking at the worst places in the world. Places where crime is high, there's lots of poverty, places where there's corrupt governments, famine, and many other issues. So let's take a look at the top 10 worst countries to live in the world.
Number 10, the Central African Republic. The Central African Republic is located in the middle of Africa, hence the name Central African Republic. Now, this is one of the worst countries you can live in the world, and this is certainly not anywhere you should go. First off, this country is very poor. The GDP per capita in Central African Republic is only $476, so your monthly medical bills are pretty much the yearly salary for someone in Central African Republic. This country is also not very accepting of Westerners as well. In addition to that, this country is also very corrupt. Another big issue here is only about 1% of the population is fully vaccinated from COVID-19, making that one of the lowest rates in the world. Overall, the Central African Republic is a poor, dangerous, corrupt nation, and it is one of the most underdeveloped in the world. You certainly don't want to live here. Number 9, Iraq. Now, most people watching this video are like, what? How is Iraq not higher on this list? Well, unless you've been living under a rock for 30 years, you would know that America and Iraq have been going to war. Now, luckily, that war has calmed down, but the threat of bombings and the threat of terrorism is still very common here. Sadly, bombings happen regularly here in Iraq. Now, since the war between America and Iraq has calmed down over the past couple years, more and more people are coming out from hiding. People are coming out from hiding to shop and open businesses. So Iraq having more people and being more crowded is actually a good thing. This country is still dangerous, though, and the threat of terrorism still makes Iraq one of the worst countries to live in the world. You certainly don't want to go here, and definitely don't want to live here. Number 8. Burundi. So Burundi is a country located in East Africa, right next to Rwanda. Now, what makes Burundi suck so bad? Well, first off, this is the absolute poorest country in the world. The GDP per capita for someone in Burundi is only $300. What the hell? So your monthly car payment here in America is the yearly salary for someone in Burundi. That's just terrible. In addition to that, this country has the lowest percentage of people vaccinated from COVID-19. Only 0.1% of the population is fully vaccinated from COVID-19. What the hell is going on here? In addition, this country is one of the least developed in the world. It's poor, and it's actually very sad how poor and how hungry people are here. However, this country does have very good natural beauty, and their largest city actually has some really nice architecture and some nice buildings. Number 7, Niger. So Niger is a country located in the northern part of Africa, pretty much smack dab in the middle of the desert. Now, this country has the highest teen pregnancy rate in the world and the second highest birth rate overall. In addition to that, the average person in Niger only attends a year and a half of school, which is by far the lowest rate in the world. As a result, only 15% of the population is literate. This country is also off the charts poor. Number 6, Yemen. This war-torn nation is located in the Middle East, right next to Saudi Arabia and Oman. Now, Yemen has some major issues. First off, the threat of terrorism in this country is very bad. It's very dangerous, and bombings and terrorist attacks happen regularly. This country is also very poor and has lots of famine. Yemen is also a very corrupt country. It's extremely dangerous as well. Terrorists have kind of just taken over, and attacks and bombings, like I said, happen regularly. Number 5, South Sudan. So South Sudan is actually the newest country in the world. It first became a country in 2011, but this country is by far the least developed country in the world. Only about half of the kids here are vaccinated, and kids here simply don't get a good education as well. Most people here are starving, hungry, and don't get enough access to water. And sadly, corruption here is very high as well. Number 4, Somalia. Somalia is a war-torn country located in East Africa. Most people refer to this part of Africa as just the Horn of Africa. Now, Somalia has some major issues. People here are off the charts poor. The GDP per capita is only $435. What the hell? In addition, Somalia is extremely dangerous. Terrorist groups often bomb and attack people regularly, and this country is one of the only countries in the world that doesn't have a stable form of government. Terrorist groups have kind of just taken over in this country, which is really bad. And this country literally has pirates. Not the pirates you're thinking of. Pirates that hold Westerners for ransom. In addition to that, this country also has very little human rights, and human rights for women are practically non-existent in this country. It's a poor, dangerous country that has been overrun by terrorism. There's very little positive to say about Somalia, and it's simply actually the most corrupt country in the world. Don't go to Somalia. Number 3, Afghanistan. Now, you've heard it all before. Afghanistan has been one of the most dangerous countries in the world. The Taliban here is certainly the biggest issue. Now, the Taliban has recently been taking over the government and taking over the people here in Afghanistan. The Taliban's been around for years, but they've been very prevalent over the past couple months. Afghanistan is also one of the least developed countries in the world. It's very poor. And one of the worst things about Afghanistan is the women's rights. Women's rights here in Afghanistan are pretty much non-existent. And it's almost impossible for women to get a proper education, which is just terrible. Also, the threat of the Taliban is just everywhere, and you never know when the Taliban's going to turn on you. Terrorist attacks in Afghanistan happen regularly, making this one of the worst countries you can live in the world. Number 2, North Korea. So pretty much everyone in the world knows how bad North Korea is. Thanks to their communist dictatorship, this country simply has no access to the outside world. There's no freedom here, and this country is extremely strict on what you can do. You can only eat, drink, wear, watch, and do what the government says you can. If you fail to follow the rules of North Korea, you will either be killed or sent to a concentration camp where you'll have very little food and it will be extremely cold. Thanks to the communist dictatorship, this country simply has no access to the outside world. It's actually very sad. Also, their leader Kim Jong-un has made several nuclear threats as well. And the worst country in the world is Syria. In case you didn't know, since 2011, there's been a major civil war in Syria. Terrorist groups like ISIS have taken over this country. Bombings and terrorist attacks happen regularly. Most of the people that live here are scared and are hiding. Bombings and terrorist attacks happen here regularly. It's simply terrible and honestly just depressing that this has happened to such a beautiful country. Syria used to be a great place.
Alright, so that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is definitely a sadder video on my channel, and for the people watching this, especially you Americans, you don't have it too badly. There's definitely a lot of countries in the world that are doing a lot worse than we are right now. Sure, there's issues here, but the reality is you could be living in a war-torn country, you could be starving. There's so many issues in this world, and You know, we can't fix it all, but you can definitely help. There's plenty of programs and other stuff you can do to help out less fortunate people. My church helps out less fortunate people, and there's just a lot of things you can do to help. So that's going to be today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and God bless to everyone.